So we had a comment here from Canes Cat Heat 305, who I was trying to listen to it. I was trying to put the volume up, but I couldn't hear it. They had the segment with Saban talking about Miami. He said he loves Miami's defense and he thinks Miami's number one. That's what Canes Cat Heat said. He said there. So yeah, pretty good. Pretty good praise there, huh?
Yeah, no, we wanted to watch it. They kept moving the segment back. I think something happened with Belichick that they got their schedule all whacked out. So we were going to watch that before we did the show. But yeah, I'm curious what he said. Obviously, it sounds like he liked our defense. What's not to like? First road game, so that defense has to travel. But if that defense, and like, thanks to Canes Cap for the transcript here, he said they play fast, they attack, they are aggressive. If the demeanor of that defense, which means swarm to the ball, incredible hustle plays like you saw with Ruben Bain's interception, just the way that they attack, and not just attack like sending blitzes. I'm talking about just the way they play within their scheme. If that energy and intensity and just how hard and physical they play translates here to their first road game, FSU's not going to have a chance because they just don't have a lot of talent on offense. They don't have a lot of talent on their team.
Dollar Tree Bear just picked the cover for Miami, so he has Miami covering 4.5.
Yeah, we can switch to Big Noon now. Shout out to Bear.
I'm going to Big Noon now.
To Big Noon. Yeah, Yalaha saying, what's he saying? Where's my guy Yalaha say? D, where can I meet you, man? I'm up here. I'm right now. Like I said, I'm in the Airbnb, staring at this janky fence that they got out here. I walked up these hills, these very barren hills here in Tallahassee this morning. Just kind of, I was visualizing scenarios of like, hey man, if Carson Beck somehow, if he slipped on a banana peel and got hurt, would Emory Williams be able to win this game? And I think he could. So that was sort of my thought process during the morning jog.
Something that I think as we continue to analyze like how much improved the defense has been this year, as D-Huck says, Saban made it a point to say how disciplined the defense is now versus last year. The more that I see of Corey Heatherman and the more that I hear, I think he's pretty similar to Mario in kind of like the work ethic and like how the seriousness, obviously it's almost like militaristic in a sense. And I think that's a lot of the coaches Mario had hired previously had other, personality traits that maybe complemented him a little bit more. You had a Kevin Steele who is not because he's not a worker. It's just like the nature of him having worked and been around so long. Like it's not going to be the same intensity level that you're getting from a Corey Heatherman, who is still a guy who is working his way up the ladder and still had a lot to prove. Guidry too. Also, I mean, he'd been around, but I think was at a different point of his career where like Guidry was probably happy being the defensive coordinator at Miami the rest of his career if it came to it, right? I think Heatherman is wired similarly to Cristobal, and I think it's different than some of these other coordinators he's hired, and I think that has been one of the big reasons it's ticked.
Yeah, well, who's the common thread here? Schiano. So I think the fact that Schiano is such a, he trusts Mario, Mario trusts him. There's such a connection there. We saw Schiano there in spring. I mean, that was the first time I've ever seen a Power 4 coach at another Power 4 school active, just walking around like normal, because this spring started a little later because it gets colder up there. So obviously the fact that Heatherman comes from the Schiano tree, as Mario does, I think that it makes a lot of this overlap. But really with Heatherman, I think what he did that was so needed with this team is he just made it simple. He said, we're not going to confuse you with the alignment. We're not going to confuse you with all the movement after the snap and the stunts and all that. We're going to trust that you guys are going to beat the man in front of you. We're going to drill technique. So you have the technique and the skills necessary to beat the man in front of you. We're going to be very strict on the technique and detail oriented. And then we're going to play 115 miles an hour and everybody's going to run to the ball. And I think the key to doing that, the guy who fits everything we just talked about it, and Josh is kind of getting to this, is you got a healthy Ruben Bain as the tip of the spear. And one thing I've really learned this season, it's not that I learned it this season. I mean, we've all kind of known this, but seeing it in action this season to me has been something to really take note of, which is in all these great teams, your best players set a certain tone. And when your best player is Ruben Bain, and he plays harder than anyone on the field, and he works harder off the field than anybody, your defense takes his personality. So on offense, the offensive line, Mark Fletcher, Carson Beck, the way those guys work, it translates on offense. But I really think going forward with this portal era and this trying to put the salary cap on and all this other stuff that's going on, I think the most important thing to do in building a team is find out who is the guy that we can get that has interest in our school, that is a elite player with elite talent, I should say, with an elite work ethic and attitude that plays the way. If you look at a player, let's say, and I'll use example, Ruben Bain's the example on our team. Let's say it's Jeremiah Smith, who we know works hard off the field like no one else. You say, man, I'd love everyone on my team to play like that. And then, by the way, this guy's the most talented player we can get. Those kind of guys are worth, you can't put a price tag on them. I mean, what's the season worth with these sold out stadiums and being on national TV all the time for University of Miami for marketing? Like, you can't put a price tag on it. So when you get a guy like a Ruben Bain and you say, this is our best player, and everybody knows that this guy goes about his business off the field a certain way, and then on the field, he's going to be first to the football every time. He's going to chase everything down. He's going to make is he still leading our team in tackles? Just about. So it's like, when you have a player like that, I think of Tim Duncan with the San Antonio Spurs for all those years. I think about Tom Brady with the New England Patriots for all those years. When your best players set that tone, you have a personality and a culture on your team. And I think it's Bain setting the tone. Of course, it's Heatherman setting the tone, and it's Mara setting the tone. I think that's really been the key to the defense, more so than just any schematic thing, is just kind of letting these guys get loose.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, but I hope this isn't a bad omen for tonight as we're talking about the defense. They're doing a very nice story on looks like a reporter, a UCF reporter on College Game Day here, but they had a picture of him interviewing Mark D'Onofrio there. And as you were talking about the defense, and I'm a little spooked right now, quite frankly.
I mean, the ones that should be spooked is FSU, because FSU is doing all the stuff we were doing with D'Onofrio as far as the 3-man front, the freshmen starting on the defensive line, and us convincing ourselves that those guys were great. The big guy like Daryl Jackson, like, hey, I hope Daryl Jackson shows up to play today. Remember, we used to do that with guys. Man, I hope if this guy shows up to play today, he's going to be great.
That you haven't seen do anything all year yet, and you're just like hoping, like, oh, he had a good week of practice, like. And I brought this comment up that it's been sitting up here for a minute now. Sworn to the Storm says something that you've said pretty much from day one with Bain, because I think a lot of people get caught up with defensive linemen. Hey, how many sacks do they have? How many pressures? But he says what sets Bain apart on the edge is his rush defense. It has been a long time since I've seen an edge this good at pass rushing and run defense. And it's not just like his ability to do it with his physical traits, but mentally. A lot of times guys like him who can get a ton of sacks. We know that's what he can do. They chase that, and they are, which now that he's gone, I'll say it now, but I think that was an issue, and it's not like you guys didn't see it, but I think that was the issue with Tyler Barron a lot of times last year. He was not necessarily listening to what his assignment was on that play and just trying to get upfield and it let a lot of things open, right? So with Bain, it's mentally the recognition of the play itself, because we don't talk about play recognition with defensive linemen a lot, right? We talk about it with linebackers, with defensive backs, but for a guy like him, I think that's what makes him so special there, as Sworn to the Storm points out.
Yeah, that is a great point with his mentality, or his discipline, I should say. We're going to see that discipline tested today with Castellanos, because I think what we really need to do, and I don't know the plan, but typically with a quarterback like Castellanos that likes to get outside the pocket, you don't want to fly upfield and come after him where he can just escape to his right or his left. You want to take away his escape lanes and be a little more disciplined, just going vertical as opposed to bending towards the quarterback. But I think with Bain and Messidor, they're so strong physically that they're going to just knock these tackles back wherever they want to put them. So it's really more just about, like you said, the discipline to be disciplined in their rush in this case, to not chase the sack, keep Castellanos in the pocket, and he'll run into them. Like, he'll run into them with a sack. But on the run defense, yeah, the discipline, obviously the mentality, the motor, which we talked about. The one thing I'd add to it is just from a physical standpoint. A lot of times when you think about a big run stuffing defensive end, they're like these tall, long guys like your Richard Seymours, right? With the Patriots for so many years, who they're just so long and strong, they can take up 2 gaps with their arms and just kind of be that. I think what makes Bain so good is he's just so powerful and so low and has such strong lower body strength that he can just kind of like move guys and knock guys back in a way that is extremely unique. And you can't wash him out. You can't uproot him because he's too low and he's too powerful.